Hello and welcome back for State Farm Neighborhood Tactics. I am Jat, this is Hai, and before we get into Neighborhood Tactics, I wanted to give you a chance, Hai, to talk a little bit about what you've been doing with us backstage.
Right, so I'm still a part of the team, and what I've been doing is I watch every single game from the point of view of the pro players. When you guys are watching the stream, you get to see all the vision, the map is unlocked for you. It's kind of cheating, right? So I want to dissect why players do the things they do, and if they could have done something differently, just so that it gives a new perspective for you all to see.
Yeah, and also coming up on the Dignitas game with now no undefeated teams in the league, Dignitas was actually very close to being undefeated. So what happened after this game is, I'll show the spectator client here just what was normally played for everyone to see. And it was a base race situation that emerged. Dig was up against a Mountain Soul. You can see the Ahri split pushing in the top lane. And what I wanted to do with Hai is I'm like, what were the players seeing? Because this looked so close. So many things could have happened that didn't happen, particularly in interrupting this Corki recall. You see the Luxalt fly out. Renekton is eventually trying to fly in. River is really close, but Corki gets back to base, ends up defending it. Of course, the team that had been losing every team fight and was up against a Mountain Soul lost. Dignitas lost the game, and it was over. And the reason we want to show this is there was actually so many just little things that happened here that could potentially be different. And we're going to start with watching Biofrost's point of view. And we're going to nitpick a few things, but mostly a lot of the stuff ended up making sense. So what do you see right off the bat for Biofrost?
Right. So the very first thing that I noticed after watching the clip a few times, I didn't notice it at first, to be fair, is you can actually take a look and see his trinket right here. He has a red sweeper. If you play support, please buy red sweepers. It's very important.
Usually
However,
red sweeper.
There may be some situations where you want to switch to a blue trinket.
Yeah.
And in this specific situation, had Biofrost swapped to a blue trinket, it would have increased his chances of hitting the Lux ultimate, but at least like 400%, right? Whatever the percentage may be.
And then when we first saw the Lux ultimate, because it was so close, what was your reaction with, I'm going to get to it, right where that Lux ultimate is placed?
So when I originally saw this live, I'm like, this is probably one of the worst Lux ultimates ever in terms of trying to stop someone, until I took a closer look at it. Generally, you want to cover as much area as you can, right?
Yeah, because it's in the walls, basically. So you're saying, like, how could this interrupt recalls? But then...
Right. We'll see and take a look here, and take a look at where his mouse is. We'll put a big circle on it. He actually ultis the bush, so in hindsight, that's actually a really good ultimate. When people are gonna recall, they're generally in a bush, right? So he purposely ultis the bush, and I took my statement back. That's a good ultimate.
Yeah, Biofrost gets a pass. Generally speaking, we think maybe he could have scouted with the trinket before ulting, but that's a really strange thing to try and train yourself. Now we're going to watch Renekton. You can see FakeGod. He actually uses a slice and dice early, which makes sense to get in closer range. And then it's kind of about when did he see the Corki that he needed to interrupt, and how close could he have been to getting here?
Right, so we're watching this, and the first thing I thought about is, if Renekton doesn't cast ultimate, is that 0.1 second enough for him to get here and stop the recall? But you'll also notice another issue. In the case it did, say he didn't cast ultimate and he's able to cast a Q onto Corki here, I don't actually know if the Renekton Q damage is enough to break the Corki shield that he has, because if you don't break the shield, you don't stop the recall. You actually have to do damage to them. So even if he gets the flash Q and hits him, I don't think it breaks his shield, and he actually can't stop the recall. So I thought FakeGod could. I watched it back. I don't think he can stop the recall.
Yeah, and it's super close, especially with the Leona stun coming in. Maybe if he flashed beforehand and we're like, okay, River, he was close as well. What happens to him? He's running through here. At first, it does look like he fights the Olaf, and we're like, oh, he wasted his W during the fight. Now he doesn't have it to stop the Corki. But again, we think about the mouse.
Right, well, we're running the clip here. I watched this and like, he has to know that the entire players, you have to stop the port, stop the recall. You're not fighting, you're just basically suiciding to stop the recall. So I'm wondering, why is he Wing the enemy Olaf here? But once again, take a look at his mouse placement right here. You'll see that it's in the bush. So that's a good W.
That was actually pretty cool.
Like, that's a good W, right? So that passes my check. But then you'll also take a look and see that he has flash coming up in roughly 3 seconds. So if this was just
so close.
2 more seconds, he could R flash and stop the Corki back. Because it wouldn't break the shield, but it would displace him and that'd stop the back. So it's so close for him to being able to stop the Corki recall, but he still can't do it. So he gets a pass from me as well. He could not have stopped it.
The football term is like game of inches. There's like so many inches and seconds that could have changed this. Okay, the very last person that we haven't looked at was the Caitlyn.
Right. This is the person that you would least expect to be able to stop a recall. There's a Lux with ultimate, Renekton was the closest, Zhao was right there. Neither of them, in my opinion, could have stopped it. But we'll actually take a look at
Olaf
this
runs
clip
at
right
him.
here.
He starts fighting the Olaf, and he basically gets murdered.
Right. Caitlyn is the only one that possibly could have stopped the recall, but how could he have done it? If we rewind here a little bit, you'll actually see that after the Lux ultimate shows where Corki is, when we pause it right here, you'll see that he has his flash up and he has his 90 caliber net up. Now, all right, I messed up the circle, but I'll do it again.
Yeah,
Bam.
flash.
Two circles right there. Generally, AD carries aren't thinking about flashing forward, netting forward to stop a recall, right? In hindsight, he should have done that to stop the recall, but AD carriers don't do that, right?
Yeah.
You should try to survive, and I don't think most people would try to flash past the Olaf here. But if he had done that, he's the only one that actually could have stopped Corki's recall by giving an auto attack. I think we need to do an auto attack, and it might have to crit for it to break the shield.
We got that big shield.
Right.
So we're not sure. Either way, incredibly close fight. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at the point of view of 4 players on Dignitas as they tried to be undefeated. Thank you very much for joining me on this segment. Hi, and now we're going to go to Flowers and Kobe for the Dignitas CLG game.
Welcome back, everybody. This is our last game of the day, the last game of the week. How you feel, Kobe? You ready?
I feel great.
You ready? You pumped up?
I took a little run through the studio. I saw them starting their intro
Kobe's
with the
all
replay
about the
thing.
exercise.
We got here in time. I can't have them make a compilation of me getting up here late with you casting.
Hey, honestly, I would watch that compilation.
So I'm
I think that would be
sprinting.
fun. Yeah,
Also,
yeah,
get
all
some
right.
good cardio
All
in.
right, Kobe's
Ready
got
for
the cardio. He's feeling good. We're feeling good.
Hopefully there's no sprinting it down in this game.
Yeah, I don't want to see any sprinting. I want to see some fast-paced gameplay, just not necessarily back to your own fountain.
And I really like, looking back in super micro replays, examining some of the really important plays that we have had in the LCS in these games, because we've had so many different types of games emerging already this split with LCS, with all the teams taking these different approaches and coming down to so many of these late game choices. But that one was all focused on Dignitas. And I am also really focused on what are CLG going to do to bounce back? Because they are also 0-3 right now. So there is a lot that needs to be done here, or else everybody's going to start memeing on the TSM CLG meetup next week.
Yeah, TSM and CLG still being the only 2 teams without a win in the LCS right now. CLG has the chance to end that right here, but let's see how they go about it. It's Gwen and Zeri still perma-banned, red side. Blue side bans for this one going to look a little bit different. Thresh gets banned away again. Jarvan and Olaf also banned out, hitting that jungle pool a little bit.
And so what's getting left up by hitting the jungle pool is the bottom lane pool. The Caitlyn, the Karma, the Jinx Aphelios trade, these things are very powerful and being sacrificed in order to target River, which I think is a good choice. I think this is smart by CLG. River is the playmaker for this team. He is
so
the
important.
heart of this team. Talked about it the other day, but he had over 80% kill participation. This man makes all the moves, okay?
Yeah.
So targeting him, the Jarvan has been the most picked for him, but Olaf is another early game power forward, basically, of junglers. So I like the focus here. And then obviously, if you're double banning, you're going to pick up the Xin for first pick for yourselves.
Exactly. Picking the champion also might as well be banning it away from your opponent. They don't have access to that. Zhao has been so popular, so effective in the current metagame of professional League of Legends. We'll see how Dignitas want to respond to it. I absolutely expect them to pick their jungler in the first half here so the pool does not get hit even further. But a lot of those good picks are out of the way so far. Dignitas will lock in the Karma here instantly. And of course, we'll have to wait and see if this is a traditional Karma or a modern-day Smite top lane Karma.
Yeah, that's why we highlight the Karma along with those 8 high-powered AD carries when we're talking about the bans that are left up, because she offers so many things. Yes, it's a very strong bottom lane pairing because you can deal with things like the Caitlyn that are getting let through, even that have early power, because your Mantra Q gives you poke damage, it gives you wave control, it solves all early game problems, and then your Mantra Shield in the late game provides you that team fight support. Plus, it's a flex pick, and you can play it in either solo lane. You can play it roaming or farming, by the way. Karma's got a long history of solo lane play and does not need to be one of the starved solo laners, can actually play a decent lane mid as well.
Well, here's an AD carry we haven't been seeing nearly as much of lately. It's the Jhin locked in for CLG and the Yuumi to accompany it.
I really have enjoyed the few times that we have seen Jhin's, because Jhin brings such a different focus. You know, you've got playmaking ability. You have things your jungler can play off of. Okay, now I'm realizing maybe I'm biased. As a jungler, I want my AD carry to
You want your AD carry to be able to set you up with stun.
Get that snare.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
go. But you know, Jhin Yuumi has been a pretty common pairing as well. You know, the speed later can set up a lot of those things, and Jin's burst damage also scales well. Even though it's not a traditional, you know, auto attack reliant, you know, like a Jinx, perfect example over on the other side, it does scale really well because you have high burst damage and you can two-shot people a lot later on in the game. Plus, they already have a Jhin, which is a great pairing for the Yuumi. This is going to mean Dignitas starting to ban out stuff that could help that bottom lane. Twisted Fate off the table.
Plus, Jhin has so much flat AD value. I mean, a late game Jhin, you're seeing 600, 700 damage numbers on the guy. Yuumi's got percent scaling when she's attached to you. 20% of 700 is 140. That's more than 3 BF swords. That's a lot of swords just from a cat. That's scary.
That's a BF sword. Meanwhile, when you pick the early Yuumi lane like this, they're actually accounting for the flexibility of Karma, and you want to ban out the kill lanes into Yuumi. So Nautilus goes along with like a Leona. We mentioned this so much. Leona, such a good pairing with Jinx. You know, if you're banning out the Nautilus, I would kind of expect you to follow with that one. But with the hesitation might mean they're now turning their sights towards these solo lanes, which Dignitas following up with that Ahri, and we mentioned they're banning out mid laners that can affect those side lanes. So the Twisted Fate, obvious one, but Ahri, I think, is just such a good assassin right now. With the mini rework / buffs that she got on the last patch, being able to reset with the ultimate, also damage, not so reliant on hitting the charm. You can still kill things without you know, hitting the charm because the damage amp was removed and flat damage was put onto the basic abilities. So they take out one of the roamers and they just follow it up with our favorite rocket shooting mid laner.
I know you're not happy about this, but I said it last game. If it's broken, you gotta play it. Consider it a public service announcement. Hey, please fix this. This is OP. That's all you're doing.
I will also, I want to point out, whenever there are things like this emerge, I really value the teams that put a lot of effort into countering what is strong. Because if everyone's gonna keep going, we're gonna pick this till you make us stop. So if you have Corki and Jinx, very good scaling, both of them have the rockets, both of them have very long range, then you can go two ways. And the one way of outscaling is very, very difficult to do. That's why you see Victor traded in a lot of those situations so much, though.
Yep.
And things like the Orianna now emerging, following up with our previous game. But
Orianna's got that 0% win.
I really like when people try and counter this stuff with going hard on the early game and snowballing. And it's a more difficult play style because then the pressure is on you to make these plays before the timer of doom ticks down, you know, and the late game range and damage scaling comes in. But it's more enjoyable to watch attempts at making those aggressive plays. So Poppy picked up by Dig, a good counter there, body blocker, and Tryndamere shows up again.
Okay. Top lane Tryndamere versus Graves. That will be our matchup yet again here today. That does guarantee us that the Karma is going bot as a support here for Neo. Jungle Poppy for River. Here we go, man. CLG really wants to get the win here, but as you just said, they're up against some scaling monsters with the Corki and Jinx. We've seen how effective these two are. It's so scary to deal with.
Yeah, definitely have some good options on the side of CLG, so they haven't completely boxed themselves in. It feels like they did not all in on early game, so they've got a lot of good combinations here. You know, Orianna plus Jhin trying to buff him up, and the Yuumi as well. That would require a very strong performance and a turnaround here from Contractz. Let's see if he can have, you know, break some of his rough streak that he's been having and really turn it up here, because CLG have a semi-enchanter Orianna Orianna, definitely an enabler
Yeah.
as far as the control mages go towards the mid lane, and the Yuumi. Yuumi wants to have possibilities of either staying on the range or a melee carry. So hopefully for CLG's turnaround hopes they can make that happen. I will say for the side of Dignitas and FakeGod, nice last pick Tryndamere, but someday set a high bar. So
Oh, yeah.
you've got a lot to live up to if you want to have a similar performance to the 100 Thieves use of this champion. He maintained his split push power, his level lead, also came in after pushing the waves for flanking and killing people in the team fights. The man did it all.
And I mean, I think that's good to have that point of comparison to say, hey, I think this is the ideal version of Tryndamere play. Let's see if FakeGod can hit the same level. Immediately, I want to point out, Jenkins is running Ghost Exhaust here in the top lane. Both of his summoner spells are anti-Tryndamere explicitly.
It's funny, FakeGod's like, when are people going to stop comparing me to someday? Will it ever end?
Well, not today. Now when you're both are playing Tryndamere, I got to see some, I'm going to do some direct comparisons here on this one. So the summoner spell's a little bit different for Jenkins. Everywhere else across the map, things are looking pretty standard. Heal on both of our AD carries, Poome running the Exhaust and the Ignite. So that brings us up to 2 separate exhausts for these fights for the side of CLG.
Love those exhausts when shutting down melee carries. So while we are already bringing up the comparisons, that makes Tryndamere's job way more difficult for the team fight. So FakeGod going to heavily consider committing very hard to split push. I like the adaptation from Jenkins, bringing that summer spell in because we already saw some, the early data, how it turned out on stage previously for Someday, the former, I guess, overstudy to FakeGod.
Well, level 1, they're going to trade back and forth here a little bit, but the other important thing here to remember is not only is Jenkins flashless, he is flashless against a Poppy. And remember that Flash is a blink, so Poppy's steadfast presence doesn't stop it. Graves' actual dash will be stopped by the steadfast presence. To me, this is saying Jenkins must be very respectful of River's ability to gank him, River's ability to punish him if he's pushed up at all, because Poppy can just stop whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, I always love tracking River especially, and even though he is on the Poppy, looking for some of these early routes to affect lanes, because he really tries to set up his laners for success very early and is not afraid of sacrificing camps to do so. Currently, full normal clear from him on Poppy, blue quadrant up to that top side. So it's definitely timely that you mention how it could be difficult for Jenkins, but Jenkins is also letting FakeGod push into him on the Tryndamere, so he knows my jungler is heading bottom side. And this is just 101 for top laners. Yes, you can't always perfectly scout the opponent jungler, but you know where your jungler is.
Exactly.
Contractz starts on top side. He's pathing away from you. So Jenkins does not push up. This is intelligent, even though Graves does have the option. And so he keeps the wave in a nice place. What he's doing now is referred to as pruning the wave, so it doesn't build up too big, because you want to thread that line. Oh, the cannon doesn't drop.
that feels a little bit. He accidentally pruned the wrong part of the shrubbery there.
Yeah, you want to have the last hitting for the pruning, but you don't want the wave to build up big enough that they can dive you. So you thread that line between getting pushed in too hard and over pushing and exposing yourself to opponent jungle pressure.
And I think what you said is really good for people of any skill level to learn and remember about jungling and about trying to know where the opponent is. You obviously can't play as if the enemy jungler is there all the time because you'll lose too much, but playing around what you know for certain, that your jungler is not there, will help you make so many more informed decisions and have a lot less stupid deaths.
Definitely true. Want to eliminate on those SDs? That's our new stat.
Yes, stupid deaths. All right, well, there's no stupid deaths here so far. Very modest gold leader early on for the side of CLG. Our junglers currently both going for a recall here. You can see the pickaxe already in the inventory for Contractz, giving him a little bit of extra damage to work with. River still just about to go back to the base. Immediate tier 2 boots purchase for this Poppy. That's going to give him even more ability to get the right angles for the wall slams when he goes in for these plays.
Yeah, I always love highlighting the early upgrade of level 2 boots for junglers, because unless you are an assassin jungler, it's super, super common. Pretty much all tank junglers want to try and upgrade rank 2 boots first because the move speed increases your clear speed because there's so much transition time between camps that not only does it enable your ganking, but it enables your clear speed as well, especially with cooldown boots being the premier choice. They are very cheap, and you get to cycle your clear a lot quicker, summoner spell, as well as the cooldowns. So things like Poppy, things like Zac, love rushing this before the meager burn of the Bombing Cinder.
And I love that conversation because clear speed always brings to mind this idea of how fast can you kill the camp. Well, even if you're instantly killing the camp, you still got to be hoofing it between them.
Exactly.
That's a lot of the time, man. There's so much spent there. So let's see if this can be a playmaking opportunity for River anywhere. He's hanging around the mid lane now as Blue's getting that thing shoved up a little bit. Back to equilibrium here. You're going to see a back in the top side coming out from FakeGod, who does have a nice lead in terms of CS over his opponent. And CLG, Kobe, are going for a nice and early Drake here.
Definitely good signs for CLG. They did their preemptive work.
Whoa.
They pushed up the wave. Can they get the poke down? They leash on Luger.
Okay, River's coming around. They're deciding, okay, maybe back into the Drake pit now. River wants to contest this. He's going to slam Contractz into the wall. TY for leash, less than 3 in the all chat. Give him an emote too, why not? Dignitas, just take that one away.
Power move right there. He knows this is untransformed smite, so Contractz, he's in a dilemma in there with the dragon. He's trying to burn it down, but it's so far out of smite range that very well executed by Dig. They let him continue on that while they section off the AD carry and support. They push out the AD carry and support. Contractz has no choice then left. He smites for health on the dragon, has to flash out, gives him the thumbs up on the way out, and it's basically checkmated by Dignitas and River there. Even though they got pushed in on bottom lane first, there wasn't enough time for CLG to finish up the objective. River comes down, he times it perfectly, and Poppy can force him out of the pit. You just negate the dragon, charge him into the wall, and very well set up from Dig, free dragon.
That's always one of the worst feelings as a jungler, too. You get so close. You feel like, yes, we snuck this objective. We're ahead. Everything feels great. And then at that very last moment, damn it.
You could tell there was a lot of frustration in that Rammus thumbs up emote.
Yeah.
as he smites Dragon for health and has to flash over the wall.
It's like, come on, man. Come on. Contractz is right back into the jungle, though. He'll keep farming up here. He's got this blue leashed. He's not going to finish that one off. Zhao has plenty of sustain in the kit, so he doesn't really even care that he's tanking both of these. It's no big deal. Palafox can walk on over, pick up that blue. He'll need it to be able to answer the spam from his opponent, who is also blue. If y'all didn't see the skit earlier, this causes a lot of confusion, but hey, it doesn't matter. He'll go pick up his blue now.
Yeah, it can be just circumvented, we don't have to make it an issue unless we want to make it an issue, so.
You might not have to make it an issue. You are the smart guy. My job is to be the talk fast guy, and when the words are the same, you get confused.
Well, let's get into it, because Blue has acquired the blue.
Blue has got the blue, but River is not in the river. So at least he's heading over to the red.
All
and I
fine.
Still want to see some plays.
Everything's fine.
We're chilling.
We're
chilling.
All right, back up to the top side, though. We started this conversation earlier about the summoner spell choice here from Jenkins. I think it's done well to avoid the possibilities of the jungler intervention, because Exhaust does have very prominent uses for the later stages. When you want to deal with the melee carries that have to commit in, having 2 exhausts will be very beneficial. Contractz yet again starts up this objective. His team should be able to back him up this time because his bottom lane has made their way here. So this is a similar situation. CLG get the first push and the early roam over to the objective. This time around, they're able to allow Contractz to get it.
This time they brought the boys to the party. River's hanging out here in mid. Contractz also in mid, but remember he's got the Yuumi attached to him. So many players rotated up to that Rift Herald to guarantee they were able to get that. Means Dignitas can grab themselves a plate down here in bottom lane, working towards that second one, but not quite enough damage to secure it.
Yeah, still definitely a positive play for CLG. There's only one plate pushed in on bottom side. Then you do lose a little bit of extra experience, go with the minions, but now you've got the one or you've got the Rift Herald in your hand, so you've got the ability to set up your play off of any sort of pick that you can try and get, so you can get way more territory out of it. And again, Luger and Poome, this bottom lane for CLG. Luger has really been the kind of shining star in the moments where CLG didn't shine. So I want to see them play to him. Good setup here with the Yuumi, and they get a flash at least.
They'll get the flash, but they will not get any more. The root finds Neo at the very end, but he's already underneath the turret. There's no chance for Contractz to make a play following that one. He goes ahead, uses the empowered recall from the Rift Herald, which feels so good to just be able to reset that position a little bit faster, get back out onto the map, make another purchase. And you can see the total gold here, quite a nice lead for Palafox as the top man on the map. Remember, there are no kills still in this game, so none of that is kill money, but he's still up a couple hundred on blue.
And this is one of the reasons why Orianna is getting picked into Corki. I think Palafox is actually playing it really well, kind of to the edge there when you mouse over the mid lane and you see him go for this trades on blue. He's trying to force him off as many CS as he can, so he's eked out a bit better of a lead for himself. Blue's holding onto the teleport cooldown, but again, these are, you know, the new age where it's not unleashed, so it doesn't give you like a huge extra playmaking opportunity or anything, and Palafox is just coming back off cooldown, so it is playing it quite well here with the Ori, trying to push a little bit of the extremes, but package still a very powerful tool, despite it getting pushed back to 10 minutes for the first pickup, must be respected, and so second dragon makes, you know, number one getting picked up in the manner that it did a bit more egregious.
And it's also good to talk about how early that first one was, getting that second one out onto the map at 11 minutes. In a lot of these games, Kobe, you're not seeing second Drake until the teleports are unleashed, until there is that extra factor that has to be considered. So because this dragon is so early, Dignitas can say, yeah, we don't care about unleashed teleport. Nobody has them. The closest thing is package, and Corki's locked and loaded. Let's go. It's free, and Dignitas just get that objective, no contest. You love to see it.
You definitely do. Let's see. Unless you're CLG, I guess.
Unless you're CLG. If you're CLG, you are not happy to see this. You are rather perturbed at this occurrence of circumstances. But we've got a lot of players hanging out around mid here. Both supports are nearby. Contractz has the Yuumi attached to him. Poome on top of the Bruiser here. This is where Yuumi's natural habitat is. Attached to a Bruiser, attached to a fighter champion. Somebody that's going to be able to make use of all that speed and healing. And, oh, they see Biofrost. Wind becomes lightning, doesn't find him, but the Q does. Biofrost trying to get himself away as Contractz goes deep, and it's first blood over to Poome. But now he's got to be careful. He's shoved back, not stunned, but still displaced. One more auto attack will get him. It's a double kill over to blue.
Yeah, that's so deep for CLG. Really hard forcing this one inside of Dignitas's jungle, so it's easier to rotate for Dig. It does cost them. You know, Luger's on the tower, looks like he should get 2 plates for himself, the minion wave in. You know, Neo does sacrifice some CS to head over as well.
Yeah.
And it is the 1-4-2. That could have been a 1-for-1 if they had a little bit closer on the distance and Poome was able to jump onto Palafox before getting shoved, but that hard CC, any of that CC is going to mean that Yuumi can't jump back on, and so they do secure 2 for themselves. Nice little charge there from River to make it happen. Who also has Hex Flash, by the way, for Poppy, so still is going to have some more mobility and some flexible playmaking opportunities.
He will make his way over into the mid lane now, seeing that CLG is trying to apply pressure here with that Rift Herald. They really just need to get this charge off before the 14-minute mark hits. They want to make sure they get the guaranteed plate money. They will not get that last little sliver to get the 4th plate, but they'll be happy walking away with the 2. Blue and River now clearing out some of the vision around this mid lane. Remember, we don't have any neutral objectives to fight for right now. It's still 2.5 minutes away from that next Drake. Second Rift Herald also not going to be online here for a little while longer. So everybody's kind of just content walking around seeing, hey, maybe there's a play to make, but still it's mostly farming at this point.
All right, I've got a nice little turn for you. We haven't talked about top lane at all since the beginning of the stages because they've just been farming away. But this is what they farms to. The Hull Breaker matchup, baby. Both of them finishing their Hull Breakers. We did see such an advantage when it was Flash Ghost Graves, kind of earned over and over by Someday with it. But the exhaust actually works as a really good deterrent too. And I haven't seen the cooldown go used from Jenkins, so it is working as the threat right now. It's the hey, I will use this, being more effective than actually having to spend the summoner spell. Bottom side, though, more action.
Luger gets interrupted on his back by the super mega death rocket, but hey, because he's still there, that means Poome can easily attach. Everything's cool. Jenkins now backing away from FakeGod, who maintains control. Yes, it's Hullbreaker versus Hullbreaker up here, but FakeGod is fine with this. He's already up 143 to 116 in terms of the CS. Dignitas now having to back away bottom side as Contractz has the Yuumi yet again. Nice disengage from River. Why delete when you can yeet? Just knock him out of there. Everybody's safe.
I like that. I need to have some t-shirts made for the Poppy main.
It's such a fun ability to watch. I just love seeing people go flying through the air on the magical Poppy roller coaster.
Yeah. You know, the designers really do strive to make unique abilities like that. And that is a success story where when do people ever complain about that ult being overpowered? It's so unique and people like using it and seeing it, and it's funny. It can have comical, scenarios, but also has never been like this overpowered state for Poppy. No one Poppy was overpowered was the old version. The diplomatic immunity. Oh, if you're super old, you can remember putting that on, just diving the AD carry and then no damage taken, nothing anyone could do.
For all the Zoomers in the chat, the old Poppy ultimate, you mark the support and you're completely immune to damage and CC from every other player on their team. You just bonked the AD carry over the head. It wasn't particularly interactive.
I love that one. But what I'm trying to get at is pretty cool rework where people don't complain about the champion. People used to a lot. But let's see if they can utilize it effectively once again. Teleport is coming down. Our teleports are unleashed, and Palafox uses his to get in place for the dragon.
All right, CLG, they want to stop this one. They know that it's soul point for Dig if they get it. It's also an ocean soul, which is very, very scary to deal with. So CLG will have Luger and Palafox and Poome all zoning away the Dignitas players, while Contractz has already started up the Drake, but the problem is Blue is approaching from the other side. He might be able to walk up here and see if there's anything to be found. Oh, they're moving in already. They're going for maybe the kill onto Luger. The super mega death rocket got him. So it will be the Drake taken by CLG, but the fight has gone the way of Dig here at the start. Nice response from Counter Logic Gaming, grabbing the kill onto Biofrost. But where's the rest of the fight gonna go? Palafox is into the grave, and his pet cat's gonna join him. Neo grabs the kill on that one. A 3-for-1 for Dig, but the Ocean Drake over to CLG.
Dig happy to take this one to the bank. They are going to have full map control and might even go for the dive onto Jenkins.
Jenkins can't get away either. Not yet. Oh, but he might just do it now. Well played there. He saved the dash up until Steadfast Presence was gone. It keeps him alive, and he'll defend the Tier 1 turret.
Actually, pretty good recovery here from CLG. Yes, it's definitely detrimental when you lose 3-for-1. But they kind of make the best of a bad opportunity here. Look at the mini-map. The Tryndamere is rushing down first to this fight, so they're going to get outnumbered. And Luger just gets annihilated right at the outset. They do force down the dragon, and here you've got a choice. Try and run out, in which case you will just all die, or turn and fight the pincer here. They actually fight themselves one kill and are able to open up an avenue for at least Contractz to escape, and flashes over the back of that dragon pit yet again to save his life. So they are pinned in. It's definitely a bad situation that they got set up in there because, early roam down from FakeGod and they got roamed around on. So well set up there by Dig to get a pincer. But as you're saying, at least they kind of pushed off the dragon's soul that they would have to fight out. The problem is you're giving over more gold every time you give over all these kills, and Dig are getting massive with this gold advantage.
And it's going to become even more of a problem here soon as Dignitas are grabbing that second Rift Herald of the game. You've got package on blue, so it's very difficult for CLG to try to move anywhere nearby to try to stop this. That top lane Tier 1 turret is very close to falling as well. Blue not quite able to grab that one here on this, just uses package as it's about to time out to clear away the wave. And Dignitas are set up around mid with River ready to bounce between here and top.
And we need to highlight that this gold lead for Dig is a completely different scenario than yesterday. Yesterday, they invested all of their draft resources, their picks, into early game champions. And so yesterday, a 5,000 gold lead on a bunch of early game champions turned into nothing for them. Does not mean a whole lot. But a 3,000, soon to be 3,500 gold lead on very good scaling champions, Jinx and Corki. Great late game. And Tryndamere means 10 times as much as yesterday. So Dig are in such a good spot here versus CLG.
So what do you want to see from CLG then? Since they're up against these late game champions, never mind, I can't even finish the question. They're already moving in. Contractz looks like he might be caught, but it's River who eats the most damage and has to disengage. Dig go for the play, but CLG respond.
Yeah, they do have Yuumi. Good healing comes out. Jhin's out ultimate. Contractz stays alive, trying to give as good as they take. They're still going to have to deal with a bit of a problem on the side lane there with FakeGod, but it looks like the recovery is going to go their way. Contractz makes it in time to smite it away, and they get her with the cone!
There it is, man. That's what you were talking about how Jhin can apply the utility and the support structures as an AD carry, and Jenkins gets his first kill of the game.
FakeGod gets caught with his hand in the bramble pit. You do not get to take away that red buff. Contractz, he yoinks it, he smites it, and the snare from downtown from Luger. All right, here we go. FakeGod, more like master of greed here. Gets snared up right in front of the blast cone. They pop the blast cone back, take him down. So much for the split pusher. CLG find themselves with a bone in this game. Very happy to get that gold back. Defending quite nicely for themselves, but with that opening, they were able to, chop down this gold lead significantly. But will it be enough here?
Right.
They've got a lot of good options. Since we're talking about scaling, Yuumi on top of either Jhin or the Jhin, because he can also make use of the extra move speed and prowling projectiles, setting up for snares for himself to create some plays, are definitely viable for CLG as well. So this pick onto FakeGod actually will have a meaningful impact on the mid game for CLG. This might be a big turning point if they look back onto this game.
We don't know what the source of this pause is here just yet. Hopefully this is just going to be a quick fix and we can get back into the game ASAP. But if it takes a turn for the worse, we'll make sure to update y'all as soon as we know. But I do want to go back to the question that I was asking before the playmaking attempt came out mid lane and say, all right, you've got Dignitas with these late game options and you've got Dignitas with a mid game lead. That is a very scary place to be in. Now, aside from FakeGod just getting too greedy and getting caught out, what do you want to see particularly from CLG to make sure this doesn't just snowball into disaster?
It's all about picks. And so
Okay.
when you're looking to create the picks, you want to gain vision by shoving minion waves first. Minion waves are the easiest form of vision to control because it's dangerous to go place your control wards deep. But if you push a minion wave up, then those minions are going to march up, give you the natural vision down through the lanes. So you want to try and push them first. Then you get into the jungle to look for these picks with that Jhin, with the Orianna ready to follow up as they're trying to talk up, these playmaking abilities that CLG have. It's not like they have invested all in these early game champions. They do have Yuumi combinations. They've got Shockwave combinations to work with. So if they can try and get some picks, they've got a big advantage in playmaking ability here because Dig have invested a lot in more long range and defensive abilities. Unless River finds some crazy flank and flashes in for Poppy, they don't have hard CC set up themselves. Well, Dig do have big guns and rockets for later, and they're going to threaten you with range and poke and damage. They're not going to be able to punish you like CLG can when you're fighting over vision. And so CLG need to spark that fight over the vision.
Yeah, when you look at the composition from the side of Dignitas, Tryndamere doesn't really engage. He just spins after one guy if he's in the solo lane with one other guy. Poppy's got the engage, but Corki, Jinx, Karma, none of these are going to be that big initiator for the side of Dignitas. Over on CLG, we've still got smoke screens from Graves, but again, those are more just, they help out. They can't really do the job themselves. So I'm really looking at Contractz too. I want to see if Contractz can find these targets, apply that pressure, especially onto something like Jinx. Zhao, back when he was first created, I remember some meme video about how if you want to win with Zhao, just find Ashe. Wherever Ashe is, kill Ashe. And Jinx has the same ability as Ashe. So just find Jinx, kill Jinx. Wherever she's at, thumbs up.
I like that. Find powder. It's all about powder. You win or lose with powder. I have an update on the issue that they're looking into right now. Someone alt-tabbed, but they were unsure if it was from the player or if there was a bug, and you don't want that randomly to happen to you
Oh,
again.
yeah.
So they're double checking to make sure that it was a player that accidentally alt-tabbed and was not a bug or something with the computer that caused this. Ready checks are going out. Indeed, problem solved. Alt-tab back in, baby.
Yep, it's just one of those things. You never want to have an alt tab in the middle of a team fight. Man, I remember back when I...
True.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. I remember I had a Windows update one time in the middle of a team fight of a ranked game in a promo series. I have never punched a desk that hard. I was tilted, my friend. But CLG are looking for a chance to go in here. Maybe there's... Nope, there's not a whole lot to see.
That is just what we are looking for, though. They're trying to spark these picks, you know, fighting over vision through the river. This is exactly what they need to be doing ahead of the Dragon setup. They are taking poke, but they've got Yuumi sustained currently. But, you know, Corki's rockets keep getting refilled. So do the health bars with Yuumi, though.
Corki's rockets and also the Jinx rockets are a viable form of poke since he's got the rapid fire cannon. FakeGod!
Oh, no!
He died before he had the ulti ready. You can see the cooldown still at a couple more seconds. Massive pick off there for CLG as the Drake spawns.
No hesitation. This has actually punished CLG several times where they just charge headlong into danger, but they get paid for this one, Flowers. Contractz is not backing down. He's got a Yuumi on his back, so he goes right in for the fight!
Oh
No!
my God, how does that happen? Neo, he gets the steal with Super Mega Death Rocket, what should have been a big punish for CLG on a FakeGod who did not properly calculate his ult timer, is completely washed away by Neo's timing.
As a jungler, I am crying. I just feel that one in my heart and my soul. A Jinx rocket flies out. You're celebrating. You just won such a big fight for the team. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, FakeGod still with the cooldown on the ultimate, and so that's one too where he's probably mashing it. And he's like, what the heck? I thought it was just off of cooldown, but Contractz and CLG force this one through. They get the kill on him, and so they force Dig out a river. Then you're celebrating in the aftermath, and your reward is just taken right out of your mouth.
Oh, River, he might just burn down. The shield would have kept him alive, but Luger does a good job finding the execution there through the Gale Force. CLG with another free pick. Dignitas have given away multiple kills now. First Tryndamere in the jungle, then Tryndamere in the river, now River in the river. There's a lot of free kills just going over to CLG for no damn reason.
Pick up that river buff. That's gonna be a new one implemented. Gonna kill on river in the river is a new stat we'll be tracking.
River buff, Season 13, preseason. We have now added buffs to both sides of the river. There are many buffs on the map. Go get all of them.
Ooh, #1 in Challengers queue at the end of the season is gonna get something with their name on it implemented into Summoner's Rift.
Wait, did they actually, is that real or is that, are you just memeing?
No,
Aw.
completely memeing. Although, you know, things close to that have been done by game devs, you know, where they let you create an item is the most common.
Oh, yeah.
We, you know, League even did that at the very beginning for...
Yeah, that was for the
Devil
that was the thing where if you got enough referrals, right? Like if you got enough people to
The biscuit.
like download the like the total biscuit of rejuvenation. River's gonna walk away here. CLG can't really find the pick there. I know that there was a couple other ones that got named after. I'm pretty sure Randuin's is also named after a person. I think Randuin was someone who like referred a lot of people to the game. There was another one. There's quite a few different ones actually.
Did you know that in...
Sterix is one of them.
Did you know that in ARAM, if you search for the golden bicep of Kobe, you'll find that starting item, the horn with the regeneration on it? Because I didn't know what it was called, and that's what I kept calling it because it looked like a bicep to me, even though it's actually a horn.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You've got a shop search Easter egg?
That's like
badass,
the
dude.
level 1 of the being implemented in game.
That's one more level than I got. That's awesome.
The starter tier.
That's sick. I'm gonna do that the next time I play. I don't play many ARAMs, but the next time I do, I'm just gonna have that. I'm gonna search that the whole time. I'm gonna search it, see it, backspace the whole thing, search it again, just to make sure.
Tell me, am I crazy for thinking it looks like a bicep though? When you saw it, you were like, oh, yeah, it's a horn.
I mean, I definitely didn't think it was a bicep, but at the same time, I
Just
make lots of
double-checking.
similar mistakes about lots of different stuff, so I can't blame you, dude. I fully understand that
All right,
situation.
let's see if CLG can get one of those picks, though.
Well, Blue's just going to turn the damage right back around on him.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
he
that was
had to
close.
flash the very end of his own Valkyrie flight to guarantee he gets away from the shockwave. Nice attempt there from Palafox.
Yeah, I think that was really well played by
Ooh.
CLG and by Blue. They forced the flash, very necessary flash. Nice placement from Palafox to get it. But because Blue, good fingers there, sees the shockwave coming, flashes it, they don't get anything out of it, and Dig continue to push all 3 lanes.
Well, that lane getting pushed down there bottom. FakeGod immediately backs away as Jenkins is ready to answer him. Jenkins, with that completed Immortal Shield Bow, has the last Whisper as well for when he has to shoot tanky targets here in the fight. Mostly the Poppy is what that's going to be worried about. Still has both the Summoner spells too, so it's not like it's easy for FakeGod to try to dive him or make any big plays, anything super risky there.
No.
Dragon in 45 seconds, my friend, and thanks to a Jinx rocket, it's Soul if Dignitas get it.
Oh, man, I'm actually just traumatized from that happening to me so many times. I mean, you forget about it. Even with them reducing the damage, this was such a big problem because initially it had 2,000 damage. It would explode, and it was like, oh my god, okay, you can't blame the jungler because the explosion.
Yeah,
did
the
damage.
explosion used to just be BS.
It was totally BS, but they reduced the damage, and yet we're still seeing it all the time here. Neo gets this one. Wild Turtle also was able to get one on Jinx. Regardless, it does mean more pressure on this Dragon. 8 seconds.
Indeed, here we go. CLG, they're grouped up as 5. They'll march down into the river first. You've got the collapse potentially coming in from FakeGod on the other side. Another one of those pincer maneuvers you were talking about earlier. But they do have to be careful here. Contract's going to take a little bit of damage. Immediately he'll back off. Shockwave finds nothing. That is critical. Blue gets out of trouble there with a package. FakeGod has made his way towards the river, but now he's got to walk away from everybody else. He does stand alone right now. CLG, they have higher health bars. It's only really River that's taking any damage here. The Yuumi doing a good job being able to heal off any sort of poke that CLG takes. River coming around from the side. CLG's got to be careful. Palafox at about half HP. Jenkins going to be taken very low now, too. There's a shutdown. They're already going to kill the enemy top laner. Dignitas is going to town, and they're about to take their Ocean Soul. River's got the smite, and Dig has 2 kills for nothing.
I gotta say, props to Blue for the magnificent outplay here. He's dangling in front of CLG, daring them because CLG have shown this penchant for instantly engaging on you.
Yep.
CLG blow all 3 major crowd control sources that they have.
Whoa. FakeGod had to flash over the wall there, man. That was close.
They blow all 3 major crowd control sources on Blue, who has package.
Yeah.
If you don't know, this makes you immune to CC as long as you activate the package in time.
It's Mount Vital.
Exactly. So it makes you unstoppable. So CLG were kind of banking there on him being very slow, but he already shown in top lane with the flash that he is not slow. He's got the fingers working. So he uses Corki package to immune 3 attempts with CC from CLG, and then Jenkins goes up, gets chunked out really heavily with the slow from the Ocean Drake at the same time that River gets this flank and ejects 3 members of CLG out of his namesake.
And then, hey, the Dragon's gone, the Ocean Soul's there, everything feels good. Dignitas felt totally safe walking up into the river like that because there was no shockwave threat like you're talking about. As soon as that cooldown's
Shockwave,
down...
Yuumi ultimate, Xin Zhao charge with the Q autos coming through, like everything in onto this Corki, and then their advantage that you have to leverage, this pick potential, is kind of blown up. So Dig, I mean, they played to their comp and to their strengths well, and props to Blue for kind of baiting there and getting those cooldowns out ahead of the fight. As well to River for the flank around the backside.
I love seeing that, man. That's the Chad play. To put yourself in the spot where it's outplay or die, and you don't pick die, that's good stuff from Blue there. That's the kind of confidence that I want to see these players have. Blue's keeping the push alive down here in bottom lane. They'll take out the tier 2 there. Tier 2 in mid already fell. FakeGod needs a couple more autos to take out the tier 2 here in top, and the Dignitas gold lead is ballooning, Kobe.
It is. It's going so well for them that they can turn their sights towards setting some records here. Biofrost is 3 assists away from hitting 2,000 assists in the LCS all time. from all of his time on TSM. That is a regular season stat only, so it's not even counting all of those playoff games from him. 3 more. Can they do it, Flowers?
Oh, I believe so, my friend. Remember, he is playing Karma. This champion is exceptional at racking up assists. You have a team-wide shield. So even just one more team fight, unless he dies at the very start of it, I would expect him to be able to hit that by the end of this game. Mid lane inhibitor halfway dead. Bottom lane inhibitor turret the same. Dignitas continues to apply the last 45 seconds of pressure from this Baron buff. Luger's going to eat an auto attack there from Neo. He's happy that that one didn't crit. Bottom lane, that's going to be the target next as they shift their focus down there. FakeGod remains that split threat in top side. The wave crashing into the tier 3 turret now. River and Neo moving forward, Biofrost right behind them. They're just going to allow this cannon minion to do a little bit of poking. It's currently locked its sights onto Contractz, so not whittling down the turret at all yet. Palafox eats the Super Mega Death Rocket from Neo, so they don't have the burst potential from that available anymore. Palafox will get healed back up by the Yuumi with the next wave coming in, and the Baron still ready to go for another 10 seconds. This should be what Dignitas need to break open their second lane here. Second inhibitor under pressure. There it goes, no contest from CLG. They're now stuck in the base with super minions flowing in from 2 directions.
Don't you hate this situation at CLG where you're now just left to think about what you've done?
Yeah, like, think about what you've done and hit these super tanky minions.
Exactly. Like, your whole base just got demolished and their Baron ran out, so they're not going to finish you, you know? They're not going to put you out of your misery.
God.
They've got soul, and they just got so much money off all of this Baron push that you're just like, oh, man, our percentage chance now is like 1%. So you're like, okay, well, it's not over. We got to hype ourselves up. Everybody pump up. Let's go find this play. Hide on bush. Maybe we can get a pick, surprise somebody. But really, you've just got all of this mountain to climb in front of you with an Ocean Soul Dignitas, newly purchased shiny items. There's a stopwatches being purchased, multiple control wards lining their pockets here. They're coming back with such an advantage.
Navori quick plate as well, just purchased for the Tryndamere. Oh man, it is tough for CLG at this point. The squad still, like we said earlier, one of the only 2 teams left without a win here in the first couple weeks of play for the regular season in LCS. Dignitas with control over the top side jungle. CLG are trying to see what they can discover, and here they will find the control ward from Dignitas. Contractz feels safe enough as the Zhao with the Yuumi attached to not just immediately get picked off and die. The Dignitas are grouped up. It is blue separated from the rest of the team back there in the mid lane. FakeGod leading the charge down top side. Remember, this is the last remaining lane that has the inhibitor standing. 45 seconds until Elder Drake spawns, 1 minute and 20 until Baron.
CLG, they also still have hope because while you have so much that's going against you right now, at least for Ocean Soul's sake, it's one of the souls that you can counteract with items.
Yeah.
And with a Chemtech Purifier there, or Putrefier on the Yuumi, you can apply Grievous Wounds with whoever you're on, but they might get attacked now.
Luger is, oh no, here comes Blue. He might just blow him up. Contractz tries to get away. River goes for the yeet, but he can't quite find it. Blue throwing out some more pokes, still has package ready to go. Contractz now gonna get separated from the rest of the team by the package, but Blue is the one who's killed. Nicely turned around by CLG. Contractz stays alive on the front, but finally falls over. Neo is unstoppable. FakeGod still pushing in the top side the entire time. It'll be a 1-for-1 in the 4v4. Elder Drake is alive, and the CLG jungler is dead.
That is a power positive for the fight trade for CLG, but they lose the ability to smite. So you're happy you took out the Corki in a trade 1-for-1, but now you have to win the fight.
Okay, Dignitas are daring them to answer. River, Neo, Biofrost versus Palafox, Poome, and Luger. Both AD carries are still active here. Support's still ready to go. Top lane is being pressured by FakeGod. So Dignitas know, even if this dragon fight results in a stalemate, they are winning elsewhere on the map. They are about to lock CLG into double super minions in every lane. There it is. Mid lane inhibitor not even respawning for a while either. It looks like CLG may be walking away from this Elder Drake here. They know they have to go back and try to defend the base. The minions are pouring in, but they don't want to give this away either. The decision-making is so tough now. Palafox and Luger still trying to see if they can do anything here. River looking maybe for an opportunity to do something, but without the flash really honestly ready to go, he can't get over the wall. FakeGod rotating over to the team. He wants to join up for this. Guarantee they're able to take the Elder Drake. Shockwave over the wall won't matter, and that's Elder Drake over to the side of Dig. FakeGod goes in, Super Mega Death Rocket not going to do enough damage to trigger any sort of an execution. FakeGod gets himself back out, uses the ulti, no big deal. Dignitas are primed and ready to end this game.
Really well managed by Dig to avoid the scary comeback scenarios. They checkmate CLG with the Tryndamere with the Ocean Soul pushing on top side, over pushes, gets the third inhibitor first. They know that CLG has no smite on that Elder Dragon, so they can start it up, but CLG can't hit it. So they just keep them there. They get the inhibitor first, then they pull the trigger. They even avoid the possibility of the shockwave steal. We talked earlier about possible mage, burst damage being the one thing you have to watch out for. And then after securing this, they pick up the Baron on top of it. It's just really well managed towards this late game for Dig. They know that CLG are trying to create that chaos, trying to get that comeback scenario open, but they first get the split push done, then draw over FakeGod, force them away from this dragon, and pick up both uber buffs. Now with both of those buffs, they're looking to end.
They got 1.5 minutes left on Elder, 2.5 minutes left on the Baron. Mid lane inhibitor has respawned, bottom lane inhibitor respawning as we speak. CLG are tasked with an incredibly difficult scenario as they now have lost those inhibitors again. This will be their final stand as Dignitas goes in to end the game. River's going to be here on the front. Contractz protected by his ulti for now. River buying time there with a stasis. Luger gets the kill on the enemy jungler, but now it's already 2 kills back for the side of Dignitas and the Elder Drake. Palafox, Luger, and Poome all still alive, but the minion waves are about to crash into the already damaged Nexus turrets. Luger just took a massive amount of damage from Blue's poke. FakeGod continues going in. The rockets are out, and CLG is down. Biofrost just hit 2,000 regular season assists, and Dignitas just beat CLG.
He got his 3 more and then some.
3 more and then 3 more on top of that.
Biofrost hits his milestone. Dignitas hit the dub. And it's a good day for them on the Rift.
Dignitas happy to be walking away from week 2, 3-1 on their record. CLG unfortunately will join TSM at 0-4 at the bottom of the standings. They had a couple of chances there where things looked really good. Honestly, that Jinx rocket stealing the Drake just felt so important for changing the pace and changing the threat of the subsequent objective fights. Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff indeed. Soul crushing for junglers around the world. And CLG gonna have to bounce back after this one. Both them and TSM will be looking to get the leg up next weekend when they play each other. Trying to not be bottom of the barrel is in itself a lot of motivation.
Yeah.
So a lot of review to do, for both sides. But I have to say, for the side of Dig here, continuing to reach. Now, yes, they did drop the game yesterday, but easy review, I feel like, from that game. So this team is a legit contender. Coming into this year, people were thinking and separating the LCS purely by money and history of the organizations.
Yeah.
And that cuts off Dig, Dignitas have once again, similar to the beginning of last year, fought their way into the top 5, into the upper echelons of the LCS, and are proving that they belong there.
And the big thing that I'm looking for going forward, since we're still at the beginning of the split, it's still week 2, is I want to see them be able to keep that up. I don't want to see this be the plane ran out of fuel halfway through the flight, it's time for the crash landing. If they can keep this up, if they can keep being creative with River's pathing, if they can keep having these successes, FakeGod split pushing in the side lane, doing his job on the Tryndamere while everybody else is able to team fight around the Drake, I'll be excited to see where this team ends up. But before we wrap up our day, let's join LeTigress and Biofrost for our Verizon post-game interview.
It is time for celebration on the stage, not just for Dignitas fans because of the overall victory, but a significant milestone for the man by my side, Biofrost. At this point, you achieved 2,000 assists within the regular season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's the first thing to kind of go through your brain? Because it's weird when you're focusing on the game, but this is an overall statistic.
I actually didn't know that supports had a statistic that like people cared about. I just know that like people had the 1,000 kills or whatever. I didn't realize it was a thing for supports, but it's nice, I guess.
I guess, you know. Does it feel weird though, having taken the break from professional play and then kicking right back in the same exact position for such a big number?
Yeah, I think I got a lot of those assists back when LCS was still best of threes. Because recently, you know, it's been best of ones and we probably haven't gotten that many assists. But I racked up a lot of assists back then, I think.
I know that we've talked a bit already about how you're feeling within your play, within the context of this team. But one thing specifically that some of the casters were citing were, wow, we didn't know what to expect after the break, but looking just as good as when you made your initial debut, taking down teams like Immortals that were dominant at the time. Did it surprise you at all, which is a weird way to phrase it, but to come in such a fashion with such speed right off the top?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things going on in Dig that have set me up for success. I have a bigger say in things that I want and control over what I want to play. So I have a lot of confidence in a lot of the matchups that we're playing and their overall direction. So it's been great because of that. It's not always the case when you're on different teams. So I'm glad I've been given like the tools for success. So I'm just grateful that I'm back and that people are like, I guess, supporting me.
And speaking of this team in particular, last time when we spoke, you seemed more aware of, oh, hesitancy. I don't know how the fans feel about Dignitas. Let's not go too hard on the hype. But now it's continuing. You're continuing to get these wins and be within the top portion of this league. Do you have belief in the momentum that you and the squad have been pushing through?
I mean, if I don't have belief, then I guess why am I here, right? Like, why am I playing? I'm confident in my team that we can keep improving. The overall direction of the team is going to depend on like a couple of factors where if the meta changes, but so far it's been pretty good for us. We have a clarity of how we want to play. The only thing that I dislike is the smite top that we had in our yesterday game, which was possibly one of the most boring games I've ever played in my career. But besides that, I think LCS has been extremely interesting this year.
I hate to break it to you, there is a high chance that you do run into that again because I believe Golden Guardians and FlyQuest are your opponents during week 3 of the LCS. So thoughts on the continuation of Dig's run into those?
We'll be ready, don't worry.
All right, I'm ready for y'all to be ready. Congratulations on such a milestone within your career on the stage. I believe we have some friends to help us celebrate in such this monument occasion. Woo, lad, that's a big boom right there. Congrats on the W to Dignitas. Congratulations to Biofrost. We wish you
That
so
scared me.
much. I know, right? My heart's pumping a little bit on that one. I'm sure yours is too. All right, well, we're going to keep the good vibes going. Heading on over to the desk to round out the rest of our day.
There we go. Thank you so much, LeTigress.
So scared.
Hey, I loved it. It caught him by surprise there.
Right behind him, too. If that happened
Wake
to me,
him up.
boom.
Heart skipped a beat. Yeah. Congratulations again to Biofrost. It is quite an achievement to be hitting 2,000 assists and now just over that all-time in his career. And again, what an explosive start to a split for him. And you see the humility in the way he speaks and the couple times that we've spoken to him about how just grateful he is to have this shot back on the LCS stage and prove to everybody at home what he's worth. But I'd say 4 games in the pace that Dignitas is moving at, he's doing just that.
They're doing great. I mean,
Thanks, Chad.
He's. I was thinking of this like bad joke of like that was really excited for him. Like, but, I mean, he's just a very soft-spoken guy, and I do feel like it looked to me like he was genuinely happy to be back, and I'm happy that he's found success so far.
Yeah, great opportunity to be able to come back and make such an impact. The team's been doing incredibly well, playing around River. Like, it was always how would they look with River in the roster when the lock-ins were going through, right? And on the same page. All playing through River at times. This one was a different look, of course, because now they're starting to take down Jarvan, move away from him. And I think the team has just been overall cohesive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is like the big thing is I feel like we've been giving River a lot of credit, right, for, you know, his pathing and how he's affected his lanes on both sides of the map, especially in bot lane. And a lot of that has to do with Biofrost, like that kind of almost patented like invade that they typically did like to do on that side was a lot of coordination from the two of them, and having also Bio having roam timers in tandem with where River wanted to be. So it's a big credit to him, and the fact that they've been coordinating so well is very impressive.
You know who else has been helping, Emily?
What?
Someone you've been a fan of?
What?
Blue! No, Blue's been great.
It's true. So the context for this is we've been trying to do a Blue segment.
Yes.
We'll get it.
You've been
We will
trying.
get it.
Specifically,
We promise you that.
every time Emily's
How about some dragon fights, huh?
Every time Emily's like, can we get a Blue segment out here? It's like, we don't have enough time.
It will come.
How about
It will
how
come.
about this time?
In time.
Because yes, it's been for Dignitas an underdog story of a lot of players coming into this that have a chip on their shoulder. Blue is a great example of that, and he's been in lock-in tournament outlaning some of the best players in mid lane who came in from the previous season, and he's been helping the overall cause from Dig.
So check this river flank, right? Because that's going to repeat here in the game, and perhaps more effectively later on when it comes to securing the soul. But I just love how creative he is in the way he played around the dragon, and understanding that as a win condition for the squad.
Yeah, I don't know if we already saw it right now.
No. It's the final one. This was the steal.
Here's the setup for it.
This was the steal.
Here's the setup.
That's a back.
Okay,
Poppy
this
comes
is
into
what
play.
we're talking about. For Soul, River again, pulling up the same flank, charging up the ultimate, removes a couple of people from the equation. Now all of the focus can go onto Contractz to make sure the smite's not there. We secure the dragon afterwards. Well executed.
Because what I would have expected in that situation is him, E into the fight, the short ulti to get a knockup or two, something like that.
Go
but
for the
nah,
full
he just
fight.
says, bah! Get away from me. And it sets up the team fight, so they're actually zeroing in on Contractz and the dragon. And for Dignitas, I think they've been doing really well around dragon setups or just like overall objective setups. This one was a bad look for CLG because CLG for the most part has had first touch on objectives, control wards in like dot bush, line bush, and it's like, okay, come into us and take the fight. But their setup around is really bad. There's one fight specifically where Jhin was the one trying to punish someone who is like trying to take control ward in the line bush, and then he becomes the target. Oftentimes you want the Jhin actually either hitting Drake or the team to be on the same page about what they want to do in that situation. They're going to look back on that one because they had a lot of dragons they lost because of it.
Yeah, CLG sitting at 0-4. We're left wanting for more, looking for that kind of team cohesion, giving us a reason to believe that they can start putting some wins on the board. That said, we're going to take a look at all of our top individual performers from the day with our player of the games. It was Fudge up there in game number 1, Pride Stalker on the Zed, Someday Bwipo, and River here in the final one.
There we go. Congratulations to River picking that one up on the Poppy gameplay. But I love the fact that Someday has come off this one with a player of the game, because the question coming in this season was always going to be around his performance coming off of a championship season. And he's just been really damn good right out the get-go from lock-in till now.
He without a doubt has...
supports.
What?
No AD carries or supports.
No AD carries or supports, man. No
Like
love.
mid,
No love for the bot lane.
jungle, top jungle.
I think I could have seen it go to tactical, for example, in that game if they were to pull out.
Yeah.
I mean,
If-
Bwipo got it rather, but yeah. Oh my God.
Pride Stalker.
Okay, there you go. Pride Stalker
Yeah.
got it in that one. Sorry, I keep thinking tactical still in TL. But yes, exactly. If they were to pull that one out, I
But
could see
as per
tactical picking that
usual,
one up.
support's just unloved. It's
True.
just a constant, unless if they're on
Well, how
Thresh
can supports
duty or
be loved
something.
when we're playing with twice as many of them as on the map nowadays, right? I mean,
Yeah,
all the
no,
top
top
laners are
laners
stealing the
are
God,
support
you're right.
thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the thing. It's making them look bad. Anyway, after a 2-0 weekend, our MasterCard Player of the Week is going to Bwipo up there in the
right.
top lane. Thoughts on this guy, Jet?
He played great. I mean, the KDA at 2-2-11 doesn't really speak to how well he played. The Gragas engages he had that really turned the tide in their Cloud9 game earlier, I thought were huge. And then his Jace play, there were so many massive amounts of poke that he landed in important moments to really just give them what looked to be an easy win against Immortals.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the Gragas fights that still stick in my mind, because he himself even admitted, I did not play some of those early to mid game team fights as well as I could have, and to come around and just have that like massive flank in the mid lane to end the game was like, it was just amazing.
I mean, I think that's the thing, Raz, right? It kind of highlights the idea that you don't have to play a perfect game to be the player of the game or the player of the week. You have to be the catalyst for the victory. And in that game where he had perhaps underperformed for the majority of it, he found that moment to have the biggest impact.
Yeah, that ulti that he was able to get, the setup to be able to get the kill on towards Blabber's Karthus, right? That ended the game. That was an amazing one. And then also in the previous game on his Jace, I just felt like we always talk about the role of top laners, how aggressive he is in some of his games. And I mean, the low amount of deaths, I think, speaks volumes on when FlyQuest tried to go top lane because they couldn't actually puncture the vision control that Team Liquid had bot side. People said bye. He peaced out. He played really respectfully while still having an edge in these matchups. So kudos to him. He's had a huge impact coming into this season.
From here, let's turn our attention to the Samsung SSD Fast 5
Bring 'em
for
up.
the week. Pull it up, baby! Top 3 in every category across each of the lanes. Emily, I'm coming to you. Anything jump out at you?
I mean, I do want to shout out Pride Stalker a bit, just because he's someone we talked about on Golden Guardians who was going to be a massive difference maker for the team. They themselves, like LeTigress, we heard in an interview earlier today, talked about how he's been such a strong voice on this team. And then around this kind of like more aggressive power farming style. Even today, when he fell significantly behind, they were able to come back after a play bot side, and he was instantly back in the game. His Zed was such a difference maker.
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna choose 3.
Nice.
Hey, I can do it.
You do what I didn't stop.
I'm going all of the AD carries because, like, for FlyQuest, I mean, Johnston's been really performing. A lot of it comes through, like, last week, when a lot of course, they were funneling towards him on AD carry, but a lot of the times I feel like they're playing well around him. So it's nice to be able to see that bounce back from last season. And I mean, Tactical and Lost. Lost had a really great week, so it's nice to be able to see him bounce back on that front. And Tactical, even through the losses, I think is getting better. And I feel like especially being able to, should have, stole the win, I guess, when they were behind a little bit versus Golden Guardians off his Jinx. So if TSM bounces back, I feel like it's going to be through Tactical.
All right, we'll keep tracking that. That rivalry in and of itself has been fun to watch. Now, a reminder that Samsung has partnered with Sleeper and Fantasy LCS, so congrats to those of you who have this week's top performers on your lineups. I know some extra points went your way. But we've got to talk about our full weekend of games and where that landed each of our teams in the standings. We got a big old tie for first between 5 teams, all sitting at 3-1. Nobody is left undefeated at this point. However, there are 2 teams that are still winless in TSM and CLG at 0-4, still hunting for that first one. But essentially nobody infallible in the LCS at the moment. I think it's what makes for that feeling that the LCS is some of the most exciting league that we've seen here in North America in a while.
I really think it's been such a great first 2 weeks, and I'm also looking forward to the next 2 weeks because week 4 is the super week where we're going to end the first round robin, so we won't have that awkward like middle of the week. Now let's do a half season check-in. In 2 weeks, we'll be able to do like the 4-week halfway point of the season when everyone's schedules have equalized, because I think there is definitely a few outliers on those standings, but like, or not. Right?
Can I get you to toss a name out
there?
there?
FlyQuest. I thought FlyQuest had the easiest schedule. They got their roses as they should have for the 3-0, but then they lost pretty soundly to Team Liquid, and I want to see how they close out the rest of the split. And then I also want to see how TL continues to look, whether or not they have Core JJ come back, because they were looking like a really strong team.
All right, well, if they're going to bounce back, let's see who they have to do it against in next week's schedule. We're going to kick things off with 100 Thieves taking on the Golden Guardians. But as Jat mentioned, with FlyQuest looking to bounce back, it'll be against another one of those 3-1 squads in Dignitas. So I think that's going to be a pretty sweet matchup to see how they ultimately deal with them. Outside of that, squarely in the middle of the day, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid. That's an exciting one.
That's great for me because my favorite thing right now is asking players who they believe with how the standings are rolling out, who's the best team in the league. And I feel like so many people would be able to easily hit Team Liquid, how they're performing right now. Evil Geniuses, just because of like the consistency they've had. I mean, then 100 Thieves and all that. But it's nice to just be able to see EG go up against TL right here.
Well, in the middle, we have at the second game, I believe, TSM and Immortals. And Jat, your theory of how good Immortals are, or to see like, because TSM, like that's such a tough loss to take today, right?
That is
so trying to recuperate and recover from that, going up against Immortals, that's kind of an interesting matchup to me, actually.
Immortals top 5, top 7.
Top 8.
Top 8.
Yeah. Not the worst.
Not the worst. Okay, that is what he. To his credit, that's what he said at the
People
top
were
of the day.
saying
all
they're
right?
the worst.
Exactly.
They're not the worst.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
point.
I accept that.
Pick. Okay.
Okay, I want to take a moment to invite you all to join us in the Bud Light League Lounge. It's going to be myself, LeTigress, Vulcan, and Impact playing some Pong, maybe eating some Buffalo Wild Wings. You'll have to wait and see. You can catch that on twitch.tv/BudLight right after the highlights, or you can wait for the raid from this channel. But for now, that's it here for the LCS this weekend. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you later for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to each other. Good night. And Emily, good luck.
No!
One day
I feel
she'll
like
get
I
it.
could hit it, but I don't want to damage the camera.
That's what I keep telling her. She's gonna.
Well-aimed stun is going to keep him away from the jungler, but the stun's going to land as well. They get the follow-through, and that's going to be first blood on the board.
He's spotted.
Oh, they just jump in. Deletion. Down goes one. Looking for two here. Xerxes showed up. Back in the same jungle he died in, and there's kill number 10 on the board. Fudge shows the Cloud9 flare. Does a flash for nothing. All right, yeah, keep the KDA. But here comes the dive. They find two. Is it enough? Lost. It's just going to die. Again, shut down by Tactical. Ole's got to be next. Those are kills and kills and kills, and LeTigress going to burn a stopwatch, but he is dead. TSM win another fight. They got to race this one down. Graves has to reload. They go for the second one. Guardian Angel will pop. Is it enough? They've got reinforcements. Hootie with the Elder Dragon. Is it going to be enough? They try to stop it, and they do. Golden Guardians from the brink of destruction.
Shut down over onto the Ezreal, coming out for Someday, and Inspired can't get a damn thing. 100 Thieves just got free, and Inspired just got baited. Well, they're going to move forward now. Inspired again, trapped in the Cataclysm. Wind becomes lightning, but it can't keep him alive. Someday goes on a killing spree, and he is not stopping. Aframu's going to get caught here in the middle. Jose Dioto coming back around. Ayla might just die first, but he stays alive there through the shielding. Last rocket finds him. Now can Johnson get excited enough to get any more? No, he's not excited. He's dead. The inhibitor itself will quickly join. Okay, Team Liquid, they've all... Oh, my goodness gracious, how do you even play against this? But the fight has gone the way of Dig here at the start. Nice response from Counter Logic Gaming, grabbing the kill onto Biofrost. But where's the rest of the fight gonna go? Palafox is into the grave, and his pet cat's gonna join him.
Contractz is not backing down. He's got a Yuumi on his back, so he goes right in for the fight!
Oh,
no!
my God, how does that happen? Neo! Jenkins gonna be taken very low now, too. There's a shutdown. They're already gonna kill the enemy top laner. Dignitas is going to town, and they're about to take their Ocean Soul. Luger just took a massive amount of damage from Blue's poke. FakeGod continues going in. The Rockets are out, and CLG is down. Biofrost just hit 2,000 regular season assists.